Welcome to the 71st edition of Make Pro Wrestling Majestic Again. You're not crazy. It's on Saturday. I am Tiger Height.
And I am, as of last week, your new world champion, Peanuts Gallery, because I rock.
Yes, and we are talking about Worlds Collide, but first, what are we talking?
Well, before we talk about title unifications, let's talk about title disunifications. And what I mean by that is this problem that we have within WWE right now, and that is a fucking Roman Reigns and fucking the Usos having the undisputed titles, but they're not really undisputed. They don't care. They don't matter.
Well, the issue is that they have not officially put them together.
Yeah, they have not, and they have not done that for a very specific reason. And there are, there are reasons why they haven't done that. And I think the biggest reason, we talked about this in a previous episode, we talked about the fact that Fox is not very happy about this decision. So, the focus that I want to do this week is on who could possibly disunify these champions, the world champion and the WWE Tag Team
here's the thing.
Championships.
I'm going to say technically, they're not unified.
They're not.
They're saying that they're the undisputed. They said that it was a title unification match.
They're not.
But they're not. It's a dual champion.
Yeah,
in every
sense
of the
two
word.
they happen to be two champions at the same time. Nobody fucking cares. But with Triple H now being in charge, I think that we should. I think that, well, not a chance. I think it's almost a guarantee at this point in time that we're going to see that these champions are at some point in time going to become, quote, disunified. And again, I think the biggest reason is just because Fox is not happy.
I thought USA wasn't happy because Roman Reigns.
One of the networks isn't
because
happy.
because Roman Reigns is on SmackDown.
Right.
That is the show that he appears on the most. Mm. So why would Fox be not happy? I don't think USA is happy that they're not seeing a world champion on there.
At the end of the day, one of the major networks is not happy with this arrangement. Vince McMahon did this as a result of his very last minute ratings pop.
Right.
That was it. That's the only reason why these people are undisputed quote unquote champions.
Right. I'm moving over a little bit.
So I am going to propose a number of different people who could take away that dual champion. First and most obvious one is Seth Rollins.
I think so.
Yeah.
He has all the momentum right now. He's pretty much the second most popular guy in their company, next to Reigns and maybe McIntyre. But here's the question: what title do you think should be taken off of Reigns or the Usos first?
I think that this should be a Survivor Series feud, and Rollins should take the title off of Reigns. Because
which title?
The WWE Championship.
Okay.
And here's why I'm going to propose this. 10 years after the Shield debuted. And it also would be a huge generator of social media. It would just be huge all across social media.
Right.
10 years after the Shield debuted, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and ideally a match in which they don't take both titles, so like a ladder match where they take one title each because they're the top, and they take one title down each.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, that's an interesting thing for me. Well, I'll talk about my point of view when we get to that moment.
But Seth Rollins is the best near-term person to take the title off of Roman.
Okay.
At least one of them. Again, I'm not advocating for both titles. I'm advocating for one singular title.
Right.
To be taken off of Roman. Now, here's an interesting one because he just re-debuted on Raw.
If Strowman's going to take any title off of this, and this is under your hypothetical, he takes the Universal title.
He does, yes. Because he deserves that sort of rematch retribution off of that.
Well, the issue is that Strowman was the Roman Reigns' replacement for that weird WrestleMania where they had no fans because it was during the pandemic.
Yep, WrestleMania 36, yeah.
Yeah, he was the Universal Champion almost throughout that entire thing. He was one who took the title off of Goldberg. So
he would be a good replacement.
But also, given the social media pop that he had already, I think that would be a great person to take at least the Universal Champion off of Reigns.
Right. He would be the most viable Universal. Now, Seth Rollins, WWE.
Right.
But Bron, Universal. Because
absolutely.
He is very much in line and in need of a rematch.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Right.
And of course, let's go long term. Long term, it's going to be Cody at the end of the day.
Cody, I think Cody's taking both.
You think he is?
Yep. I think, here's the thing.
Explain your rationale.
I think Cody's going to take both, and they're actually going to unify them. I don't think that they're, yes.
You don't think that they're not going to unify them? They're going to disunify them.
I think they're going to be committed on unifying the champions.
Well, why
I'll be
haven't
honest
they?
with you.
It's been almost a full half a year.
Here's why.
They've been, quote, unified.
Here's why. Because Cody got hurt. If Cody didn't get hurt, I think Reigns would have had the titles taken off of him already.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
The injury,
explain your rationale.
The injury, because Cody had all of the momentum going into the Hell in a Cell match. He had all the momentum up until this point. And I think if he was the one to take it, because I think he was the one to take it off of Reigns at SummerSlam. That was the match.
Okay.
The fact that they had that match with Lesnar was just totally 100%. We got to do something for SummerSlam with Reigns defending the champions.
Okay.
100%. There was no reason that Lesnar went for that title unless they had to flip the script because of the Cody injury. That was it.
Right.
Because Cody is the guy. And I think still to this day, despite the switch in leadership, they understand the business. And they understand that Cody is the guy to do it. To be honest with you, it should have been McIntyre.
No. I mean, again, well, I presented to you three people who are way more qualified than Drew McIntyre.
Right.
To take the titles off.
I'll be honest, Strowman is kind of sketchy on me because he just re-debuted.
Right.
I think McIntyre based legitimately on work ethic.
Right.
But Rhodes is definitely going to be number 2 for me.
But the reason that I chose Rollins is because Rollins was never pinned by Roman Reigns either. Like, Rollins was never in that title picture. So, I think that's the biggest and most immediate sort of plan. Now, the plan down the road might be a Cody versus Seth match for a world title, of course.
Right.
But, of course, with Rhodes being hurt as he is right now, we have to do a near-term thing. And I think that in the near term, I think that Rollins is the most likely person to win.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's go with tag teams. And this one was an interesting choice.
Yeah, so the tag teams were so much more difficult to try and figure out who and what and which championships were going to be disunified. Because, in my opinion, there is no current WWE
tag team
that
has any legitimacy on taking these titles off of the Usos. They have beaten everybody.
Yeah.
And now I like the choice of Pretty Deadly because they did truly unify the NXT and the NXT UK Tag Team Champions last weekend.
So these are my choices number 1 for who's being called up. And also who would disunify tag team champions. My question is, though, who? And I think that they're going to, if they were to disunify any tag team champions, they would take the Raw tag team champions.
Off of the Usos.
Yeah.
Okay. So why Pretty Deadly?
Because Pretty Deadly are the hottest things in NXT right now.
Yeah, but they already unified the NXT and the NXT UK Tag Team Champions. And here's the other issue too.
So
both teams are heels. You can't turn one babyface and then have them go for the titles.
Again, I think this is going to be a really big test for the likes of Triple H, because I think that Triple H doesn't care as much about faces and heels as Vince McMahon did.
That's true. Now, this is the one that I'm thinking is the most legitimate.
Now, here's the thing. It's that based off of what we saw last week with them losing the tag team champions, I think that these guys are going to be called up a little bit more. However, I don't know if they're going to take the titles off of the Usos. And I've also heard rumors that they're going to break this tag team up.
That would be stupid.
So,
they're legitimate brothers, and they work well. They work very well as a tag team.
They do.
And even you, who were never the biggest fan of the Creeds. I
became a fan of them last week.
That's true. I mean, they're just a great tag team, and I think if you're going to do that, might as well have two legitimate wrestlers be the people that take the titles off of the Usos, and that would be a great moment.
Now, in a disunification match, which ones would they take? The Raw or the SmackDown? I think they take the Raw.
No, I think they would actually take the SmackDown,
oh, really?
and here's my justification of that. Because Raw needs more tag teams than SmackDown does at this point. SmackDown has a very diverse tag team pool.
You said the SmackDown.
Yes,
they take
the Creed.
SmackDown.
Yes, the Creed brothers take the SmackDown, and the Usos almost stick with Raw because they still have the Raw.
because then they have the tag team.
Yes, then they have the tag team with a diverse tag team already with SmackDown, where the Usos have dominated that. Let's maybe shoot against some Raw tag teams who maybe never have gotten the opportunities that maybe they deserve to that. Fair enough. Them and Alpha Academy might be good, but maybe not for both champions.
Right.
Given their present situation. The issue is that the Usos have been really only facing the SmackDown teams, and they've been facing the SmackDown teams almost on repeat. We get it. Like the New Day. We get it. Street Profits. We get it. Let's see somebody else.
Right.
And I think if they go to Raw, there's going to be a different pool for them to take on. And then you have the Creeds, who are a great legitimate tag team on SmackDown, and that would diversify that pool. That's why I'm thinking they take the SmackDown if they're going to do that.
I can see the rationale behind that. Let's talk about another team.
Brawling Brutes. Now, this one, I think it might be the closest to be legitimate, especially given the standing ovation that Sheamus got. I think they're going to push the Brawling Brutes fairly hard.
And they're obviously over a SmackDown tag.
Yes.
The next two teams I have, they're obviously SmackDown tags because both of them are main roster. Right. So I talk about NXT a lot because I think that the next great challenge that is going to come from come for the tag team champions are going to be from NXT. However, there are a couple of main roster teams that I think we haven't talked about, and the first one obviously is the Brutes.
Now wait, here's a question though. Because we have three people on the Brutes, and they finished their rivalry with Imperium last night, as the recording of this. Do you think that Sheamus has an opportunity to possibly be straight babyface like they are essentially, and maybe face Reigns for the title?
That is the reason why I put them on there.
Because they are Brawling Brutes versus the Bloodline.
They're tweening on straight babyface.
Right.
They're tweening on it.
They really are.
And then the next one, obviously Imperium, because they just re-debuted. And
here's my question.
As a six-person team.
I'm gonna propose why I think this would not be a good idea is because Gunther has the Intercontinental Champion. So what is gonna happen with that? Is he gonna go for the Universal Champion?
No. Here's the thing: is that Gunther and the rest of Imperium are twinning on babyface. That's just happening.
You think Gunther and Imperium are twinning on babyface?
Well, again, it could go either way.
I think it would be more Sheamus and Brawling Brutes than it would be with
yes.
Gunther and Imperium because Sheamus was the one who got the standing ovation, and also the Sheamus one would fit more because Sheamus never held the Universal Champion. He was World Heavyweight and WWE, but he was never the Universal Champion.
But again, I'm going off of what I see within the past couple of weeks that, based on what we have seen so far, the Imperium faction is back together. So that makes a great choice for taking a title off of the Usos because...
I'm sorry. The only reason that I'm going to disagree with you on that is because the Brawling Brutes are the ones that are obviously tweening.
Right, they're more outwardly babyface, but the same could be said for Imperium. They're not as like outwardly tweening.
It's a hard.
At the end of the day, like there is
the Imperium team in your justification is a little more of a harder sell for me than it is for the Brawling Brutes.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the only reason why I'm on the fence about them. But if you're gonna say a team right now to take either one, two, or both champions off, I think the Brawling Brutes are the most logical choice. Because of the tweening circumstances.
Yeah, they're logical. But again...
And also, the Imperium rivalry is done. Where are they going to go from here? And I honestly...
But again, Imperium is also tweening a little bit. You can't deny that there is some tweening going on. There is something happening within that because it is a rapidly evolving new faction within the main WWE roster.
I guess we'll have to see, and that's the one thing that I'm liking about WWE right now is that the assumptions are almost out the door. We don't know what they're doing.
Right.
We don't know what's going on.
Can you think of another tag team right now that could possibly be going for these titles at this point?
If Randy Orton comes back, I think RK Bro has a good opportunity to because
Randy Orton's not going to be back until Rumble. So
right. I think the only reason that I'm saying that is because they took the titles off of Randy and Riddle because Randy needed the surgery.
Right. Like I said, Randy's not coming back until Rumble. So
right. No, that's what I'm saying is that maybe because at this point the Usos are only going to be losing these tag team champions at a big pay-per-view.
Yeah, they
are. There's no other way to spin this that they're going to hold these champions until a big event, either at the Rumble like Reigns is or at Mania like Reigns is.
Right.
It's one of the two.
Exactly.
And I think if you're going to talk about maybe Raw tag teams right now, there's not really a Raw tag team.
There's not. Like most of these teams, all of these teams in fact probably would go for the SmackDown over the Raw.
For the most part,
like the only people I can see are people who are called up from NXT. Like the Creeds or Pretty Deadly.
Right.
But again, those are very unlikely contenders. The most likely people who are going for the tag team champions at this point in time are going to be Raw specific or SmackDown specific.
Yeah. Right. I think overall they have a stronger.
They do.
They have a stronger tag team division, and I think that if the Usos need to be more on Raw than they are right now. So I think that them being on Raw would be a much better idea than them being on SmackDown because SmackDown has arguably a stronger tag team.
For Roman, it could be either way.
Right.
I mean,
Reigns has achieved a level of Brock Lesnar where he can really just show up wherever and be fine.
Right.
But that's just kind of where that is for me personally.
So anyways, for me, that's kind of where I want to start with tag team disunification because we're talking all about unification, not tag team, but just in general disunification. But let's talk about some unifications. Tiger, what are we talking about next?
So we're going to be talking because we're all talking about all about unifications and disunifications. I want to talk about the history of title unification.
We're going to pivot to unifications.
Yes.